We're live. Just check in. Yes. So it's been a while since I've live streamed because I already dialed in a delicious cup of coffee with this bag over here, and now I'm all done with those beans. And perfectly enough, I got a new set of beans that I ordered online. I decided to go a different route this time around and get a tasting set. I usually don't get tasting sets because I feel like the amount of coffee that each sample has is just a bit too little for me to really enjoy and explore with the bean, but this time around I'm like, nice graphics. It's a roastery in Japan and I just wanted to see what they had to offer, so why not give the tasting set a go. And one thing to note over here is that even though these beans were like $15 or something, the shipping was close to double, or like a bit over double the price of the beans. So I took a pretty heavy hit there, but you know what? You gotta do something for your passion sometimes, and if that is eating up a shipping cost, then so be it. But yeah, let's open up these beans and see what's in here. It looks really nice with the packaging, so I'll just show it to you over here. Very clean. Coffee tasting set by Onibus Coffee. It also came with a cute postcard. And a brew guide. And even though this brew guide is all in Japanese, I could kind of like figure out what they were going for. So with the hot hand drip, they use, like by looking at the numbers, they use a pretty small dose of coffee, but they do a pulse pour, meaning they pour 80 grams of water in first, and then they let it sit for a bit, and then they pour 60 grams of water, and then they let it sit for a bit, and then they pour the remaining 45 grams of water. So they are using not a continuous pour, but a pulse pour, or segmented pour. And you can find a lot of these methods online if you want to look up Hario V60 brewing guides, but I'm just gonna stick to my guns and do a single continuous pour. Okay, so let's open up this. I'll move the cam a bit down, like so. Got my skizzers. So bad at cutting this. Should have probably gotten like a this is probably much better. Nice. Okay. So let's open this up. Or can I open this up? Pops out. So, oh, it's the same stuff on the inside too. So yeah, even though they put it in the parcel that they sent, they also give the same thing on the inside. I'm assuming if you just buy this from the store, you will need those. And let's look at these satchels. All of the satchels are the same, but they have a small sticker on the side. So this one is a Guatemalan, and it's a La Bosna Ventana Grande Microlot. And let's see, it is, yeah, it looks really interesting. Yeah, instead of me saying those things out, I'll just put it right over here. So this is a Guatemalan bean. This is a blend. This is their Onibus original blend. Right over there. And the final one is a Ethiopian. It's quite the cute satchels. So I am gonna go first with, let's see, anything else in this package? No. Cool. So I'm gonna explore first with the blend. Why not? We'll check out the Onibus blend and see what's up. Let's cut that open. Save every bean. So each satchel is 50 grams of coffee. So I'm gonna brew with 15 grams in each brew, so I'll get 3 brews in total. Smells delicious. Okay. This is how the beans look. And let's do this. So before I start brewing, I'm just gonna write down the first brewing recipe that we'll be going for. So this is brew number 1. And we're gonna go with let's see what ratio they were aiming for with this guide over here. So 13. Bringing out the calculator, 225 divided by 13 equals 17. So a pretty high brewing ratio is what they recommend. So let's go with that. Let's start off with their recommendations of a 1 to 17 brewing ratio, but we're going to use 15 grams of coffee instead. So 15 times 17 equals 255. And let's also use their water temperature, so 92 degrees Celsius. And we'll use my grind size. Right now I'm using a 30 for Hario V60. And brew time is whatever. Okay, let's go for it. have my boiling water right over here. Since it's aiming for 92 degrees Celsius, I'm gonna let it cool down a bit. I'll grind my beans in the meantime. I can tell by the sizing of the beans that it's two different blends. Or that it is a blend, I mean. Like some of them are pretty small, some of them are pretty large, and normally it's a bit more uniformed. Smells like a medium to dark roast, like those roast level qualities are coming through here. But maybe more like a lighter note too. So even though it has those scents of a dark roast, it's not as intense as a dark roast, you know? It has a bit more of a, it's like 80% dark roast scents, 20% floral slash slight acidity based scents in here. Okay. So right now it's actually at 92 degrees Celsius. Perfect. And we'll also be using a fabric filter because I know that Japan loves their fabric filters and slow drip coffee, so we're gonna aim to replicate something that they enjoy drinking. Because I know that they're always aiming to roast beans that are ideal for their taste buds and their style of brewing coffee, so we better lean into that and really embrace it. Okay, so let me go down to the brew cam. Like so. I'll fold this down for you. We'll preheat. And I'll go and pour this out. Toss the grinds in. Make a small hole. And let's begin. So I pour 50 grams of water. I stir it to saturate all the grinds. And then I wait until the 30-second mark. And then I'm going to pour water all the way up to 255 grams of water. So one thing I'm already realizing is that I should probably have ground it a bit coarser than my previous Hario V60 setting, because I was using more of a lighter roast with that Hario V60, and I have a feeling that these beans might be roasted slightly more on the darker side. And since I'm using the small brewer, I'm gonna just wait a bit here. So this is the version 1 Hario V60 versus the version 2 that is slightly taller and would have held a full pour. So 255, and then we do the rouse spin. Pushing it, pushing it. And now we wait. So I can also tell that for this amount of coffee, it's taking quite a long time to brew. Like the drawdown is quite long, and I have a feeling it is the bean roast level that is producing a lot of fines, which means that I need to grind a bit coarser to compensate for that roast level and the fines that it creates. Like ideally, I think this amount of coffee, 15 grams, would take around 3 minutes. And right now it's closing in on the 4-minute mark. It's 3 minutes and 40 seconds here. So drain finished at 3 minutes and 50. The bed looks nice and flat. Slightly muddy, but I think that's just a par for the course. Give that a stir, like so. So for brew time, it was 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So these are the settings we used. It was our first brew. We used a 1:17 ratio, 15 grams of coffee, 255 grams of water, 92 degrees Celsius of water, grind size 30, brew time 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So from my experience, even before tasting this coffee over here, I can kind of imagine that a lot of the variables went into the over-extracted range, so the time was pretty long. The grind size that I started off with was actually pretty fine because that just come off a lighter roast. This one over here, it is a bit of a lighter roast, and I played around with it on the Hario V60, which is why it's at that 30 grind setting. But right now, I have a feeling that it might be over extracted. You never know though, it might be delicious. We'll see. Just gonna let it cool down a bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna get a clip for this guy. So I kind of spilled a few beans over there, which is totally fine because using 15 grams of coffee 3 times becomes 45 grams, so I have 5 grams of leeway to play around with here. But yeah, look at how cute that is. Okay, so it's been around 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's give it a whirl. Yeah, so right off the bat, I can realize that it's my fault, really, that it is over extracted. I should have changed my grind setting, and what I'm tasting right now is that my tongue is pretty raspy. It does feel over extracted, and even though it's a smooth cup, which I think this blend is aiming for, a very approachable and smooth cup, the dryness and raspiness of my tongue really makes it less of a smooth cup because of that quality. So we're going to aim for just a really clean and smooth cup, which is pretty much what they're also going for, I think. So here it says sweet chocolate, creamy mouthfeel, wine, long aftertaste. So a lot of those buzzwords are about the feel of how it is in your mouth. So wine and creamy mouthfeel and long lasting. It's just all about the way that the coffee interacts with your mouth. So it's not aiming to get a lot of nuanced acidities or sweetnesses, which is also what I usually think blends are. They aim to just get a nice and pleasing cup of coffee and not highlight any specific taste qualities. So yeah, over extracted taste is yeah, the mouthfeel isn't that great because of that over extractedness, that dryness I get on my tongue. So taste is pretty low also. So on the scale over here, on the extraction, it's pretty high. So it's pretty over extracted right over there. And for taste, yeah, it was mediocre. Down over there somewhere. Mediocre at best. So what we're going to do to change this cup of coffee is we will focus first on grind setting. So it was really over too fine of a grind size, and we're gonna change that. So I'm not gonna just change it 1 or 2 notches because I taste that it's quite over extracted. It's not just a bit over extracted, it's really over extracted. So I'm gonna change it from a 30 grind setting to 35. So that's a pretty significant jump in notches, and we'll see how that goes. Let's drop that in. So for brew number 2, we're doing all of the same things over here. So brewing ratio, amount of coffee, amount of water, temperature, sure, we'll keep the same. Grind size, 35, like so. Actually, I want to draw a line down this. So, something like this, 35, like so. That's clean. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.